Men do not menstruate. Only women menstruate. Now, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Cis men don't menstruate, but trans men do menstruate.
No,
Same
they
as
don't.
non-binary people.
Only women.
Menstruating is not exclusive
Yes,
to
it
cis
is.
women. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So explain to me as to why my body menstruated at
if
some
your
point
chromosomes
then.
are XX and you're young, you menstruate. If you're XY, you don't.
Correct, but what about trans men and non-binary?
They're
We're
not
excluding
men.
a whole group of people
They're
here
women
that
dressed
menstruate.
as men. You are not a man. You can pretend to be a man, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Live your life and tell me what a man is.
Well, what's a man to you? You define a man for me.
You have chromosomes that are X and Y. That's what a man is.
So why are we just looking at the science of this as an example?
Science.
When we've learned sex and gender identity are they're completely different things.
They're not completely different.
They are
things.
completely different.
Completely different words.
Sex is what you're born with, the sexual reproductive organs you have. Gender is what you identify with. They're completely
Well, I don't
different
accept that
things.
distinction. You have to argue for it. You're just giving a conclusion.
The funny thing is that she was a woman, she was born a woman, then she decided to change back to a man, and she's seen her period, which is making her prove the point that trans men also see period. Wow. Thank God he's a teacher. He's trying to teach them, and he's still teaching these playground students. It's crazy.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
what I can say is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition happened,
I'm going to try again.
the rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is
but
that
I
a
also
yes?
think
So I'm
that
trying to get a yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech. Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're not asking, do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex
My
is different
question,
than gender.
why
and I do believe that
women's
sports have a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a
we've talked
separate
about it here
category for
today.
women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has.
Guess what? She's not only the one that cannot even answer this question. This basic question: is there a difference between a man and a woman? Most people cannot even answer it. Like, this is the world we are living in right now. Basic question: is there a difference between a man and a woman? And you're saying another thing. They are just, I don't know. It's like they are clowns, really. This is just funny.
We're not fucking winners, and this is what they're trying to teach the youths them? B is for bi. C is for coming out. D is for drag.
W is for what the fuck?
A family can be made up in many different ways.
It's called SOGI, for Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification, a curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle and that gender is fluid. In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls, there are people whose gender might be a little bit of both, or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses, and songs like The Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make.
Nowadays, most parents are even scared to leave their children with teachers, because I'm bringing my child to school to learn math, English, and other subjects, or music, or so on. Or you are here teaching these kids about LGBT. Like, is that what I'm paying for? And most of these teachers or these schools don't even inform the parents about this curriculum. I would advise that most parents, when you are enrolling your child to school, you understand the curriculum And if you're not comfortable with what you're seeing, you have the right to withdraw the child. So the next video I'm about to show you now will be students talking against this bullying from their teachers, trying to force this agenda against them.
My shirt say 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders.
12-year-old Liam Morrison claimed at a Middleborough Public School Council meeting on April 13th that he was kicked out of class for wearing the shirt a month earlier.
I never thought that the shirt I wore to school on March 21st would lead me to speak with you today. On that Tuesday morning, I was taken out of gym class to sit down with 2 adults for what turned out to be a very uncomfortable talk. I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions, came to pick me up. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too. I was told that the shirt was a disruption to learning. No one got up and stormed out of class. No one burst into tears. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions.
Only ladies and gentlemen it is and shall always be. I am an 18-year-old high school student and wanted to take this time to bring to your attention the current issue with biological men claiming they are women and in turn truly believing that they are entitled to use women's spaces. The question we must address is why are we affirming the mental confusion of this boy and putting the safety of women in jeopardy by allowing mentally confused men to use the women's spaces?
I feel very upset by the situation, that the fact that boys are going to be allowed to go into the girls' bathrooms. I don't think that they should be allowed to be in girls' bathrooms because it's just, if they're not a girl, then they shouldn't be in there.
Honestly, this is really sad that women now, our girls, our young girls in school are no more safe. Now men are allowed to be using their bedroom because the men or the boys feel like they are women. It's really painful, it's really disappointing, it's really heartbreaking, it's really traumatizing. This next clip I'm about to show you now will be parents talking against this kind of attitude.
I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe that your child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Why? Because you are not stupid, and these children are not stupid. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me, and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat. You may also think correctly that if I truly believe I'm a cat, I have a mental disorder. If I suffer from a mental disorder, and if I am unable to discern reality, am I safe to be around children? Would you put me in charge of making critical decisions about the safety and well-being of children and about the direction of their education when I cannot even discern truth?
Here, it's called It's Perfectly Normal. I'll read some of this for you. It says, after a bit, a person's becomes moist and slippery. A bit, a person's...
Sir, I'm sorry.
Was it something I said? If you don't want to hear it in a school board meeting, why should children be able to check it out of the school system? We have perverts that are perverting our kids. And you all sit back smug in your chairs, but you don't want me to read it. Why? Does it bother you? Yes or no? You can't answer that question. You want to know why? Because politically speaking, you can't say that it's wrong. And you don't want me to read the filth because it exposes the truth. How dare you tell me to stop reading it?
Bravo to this father for actually speaking out, because it's really disgusting that we are bringing this kind of mentality, these people that need mental treatment, these people that are sick, to be teaching kids, to be involved in kids. Okay, look, the thing is, I don't have any issues with you thinking you're a cat, or a man thinking he's a woman, or a woman thinking she's a man, or somebody dressed, or a man dressing like a woman. I really don't have any issues with it, but the only issue I have with it is stop pushing your thoughts or your agenda on kids, or stop teaching it to kids. Leave the kids out of it. Just leave the kids out of it and absorb your own thoughts. Stop teaching kids this. There are some schools right now that have removed their flag, like the national flag, their country's flag, from the school system now. Instead, what they are putting is the rainbow flag. So, well, that'll be the end of the video for today, and it's really annoying, it's really embarrassing that we are still allowing this kind of mental illness to eat into the school system and into the children. So I'll be leaving this last clip for you. It's a student having a quarrel with her teacher, and it's really mind-blowing to listen to. Please subscribe to this channel, the Treehouse Podcast, so that I can be doing more videos like this, more reactions like this.
How dare you? You've just really upset someone. Saying things like should be in an asylum.
I didn't say that. I just said if they want to identify as a cat or something, then they're like genuinely unwell. Then they've gone. Yeah, they're crazy.
You were questioning their identity.
No, I wasn't a questioner. I was just saying about the gender. I hadn't said anything about them.
But where did you get this idea from? There's only two genders.
I just think it's my opinion.
That is my opinion.
If I respect their opinion, can't they respect my opinion?
It is not an opinion.
Yes, it
is.
It's
not an opinion you
There's
can
only two
have.
genders.
Loads of people think there's only two genders.
There's only a boy and a girl.
Literally. There's no other private part. There's only two.
Gender is not linked to do with the parts that you were born with. Gender is about how you identify, which is what I said right from the very beginning of the lesson.
I just don't agree with that. So why should I have to listen to it?
Biological sex, there is actually 3 biological sexes, because you can be born intersex. You can be born with male and female body parts or hormones.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, there's 3. There's not 300.
Doesn't mean.
Yeah, there's 3. I'm talking about biological sex. In terms of gender, there are lots of genders. There is transgender. There is agender, people that don't believe they have a gender at all.
Yeah, but you can't have that. You
can't have that. It's not a law.
Yeah, but it's not a law, but it's our opinion. We just don't agree with it. We just think it's all just.
If you have a vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy.
Yeah.
But cisgender is not necessarily the way to be. You were talking about the fact that cisgender is the norm, that you identify with the gender of the sexual order that you're born with, or you're with. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is really despicable.
How? When it's
if I called my mum right now, my mum would feel my side.
If I called my mum, she'd say.
Well, that's very sad as well then.
How is it?
Loads of people agree with it. There's only a small majority of people who actually think that.
And why do you think we have so many problems in the world with homophobia?
Yeah, but
because
that's
of
not
people
homophobia, that's gender.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
it
fine
is.
with lesbians and gay people.
Same.
I've got nothing against them.
Same.
But gender there is a link between it, and you're saying that people can't change
No, they
who they want
can't.
to be.
They can't. Unless you
You're
get a
so
penis
wrong.
attached. No, I'm not.
You're confusing sex and gender.
No, I'm not though. Because if
Yes,
you have a
you are.
vagina, you're a girl. If you have a penis, you're a boy.
Yeah, you can't have a vagina and be a girl, but then
Gender
Unless you
identify
get
as a cat.
surgery, and even then,
Gender
because
is
you've got
about
those genes.
how you identity.
I just
How you
don't agree with
identify.
it.
Yeah,
Which
just
means
fine.
it's not an opinion
Yes,
that we
it is.
express in this
Yes,
school.
it is.
No, it's not. And if you don't like it, you need to go to a different school. So
I did go to a
I'm
different
reporting you to Miss Willis. You need to have a proper educational conversation about equality, diversity, and
I ain't
inclusion.
doing it. My mum
Because
doesn't
I'm
let
not
me do
having that expressed in my lesson. When I'm teaching you about you can be who you want to be,
Everyone else
how
thinks
you
it.
identify is up to
So
you.
everyone else thinks it. They just don't say it because then all this happens.
Maybe because they're polite and maybe they're sensitive.
I haven't said anything in all of the lessons I've been in. It's just because they turned around and started saying something. So I said, how can you identify as a cat when you're a girl?
Well, they're now writing a statement. I would imagine that you'll be asked to write a statement as well.
We will.
Yeah,